Hello and welcome to this update to Strand Designer version 1.41. And there's been a little change now that makes it look a bit closer in terms of the final render. So the previewer has had a little bit of a makeover internally. It doesn't affect many of the things that you see, but what happens now is if you set your number of strands and your waviness and all these things, and let's just render it a color map. You now see that they're very close to each other. So you can press C and P and you can see a little bit of difference in the positioning, but that's only because the previewer is an optimized version. But now you're getting something much closer to what you'd expect in the end, which is something that I struggled with at the start, but this is kind of give me goosebumps that this is working as expected. This was all just down to the process being randomized each time it made a strand, and I wasn't caching any of that data when it came to the renderer. So all I've done is just made it store that data and reuse those values for the rendered version. So hopefully, I've not fully tested it, but hopefully everything is good. If you have any bugs related to this, let me know. So you can still use Control mouse wheel to get more definition here, and the mouse wheel itself to get more strands. Okay, and then that will be passed into this. Hopefully it works. I'm just going to check that again. Let's click here and do another render. Yeah. Okay, so far so good. That is now made Strand Designer 1 pretty much complete for me. The only thing that's going to change next is going to be more control of the algorithms per set. Probably a UI overhaul, so it might be a bit of a gap before the next update, but it means that overall I'm happier with it. Apart from the memory leak and the crashing, which you'll have to deal with yourself, just make sure you save your HSD file once you're happy with how things look. And you can even save it now at the previewer point. You don't even have to render anything, now that you know that roughly you're going to get, you know, what you see is what you get type of thing. There is a limit to the number of strands, so if it can only display 60 strands in the previewer, it only stores 60 of those values. Otherwise it's going to give you something a little bit random based on the algorithm anyway. So you may see a difference if you've gone for more than 60 strands per set, which is kind of unlikely because 60 is a kind of nice number. Unless you're going for really thin hairs and you want a whole bunch of them. If you are doing that, just be careful that you might be rendering a whole lot more strands than say 400 or 500 in total. That's where the memory leak tends to kick in, and I don't really have control of it. So if you do decide to go for a whole bunch of hairs, make sure you save your file, and a good tip is to render each texture one by one. So click on this, render it, click on this one, render it, click on this one. It just means it's less intensive, and if there is a crash, at least you can sort of work on it bit by bit, and you're missing a map. You can also decide to export your map individually if you want by clicking this one, and it will just export that map. But make sure you save your file every now and again. Thanks for watching. Bye.